Warning: the following program may contain material not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Kill the noise and cut the static. Broadcasting from high in the mountains of West Virginia, we're leaving the 9 to 5 in the rearview mirror. The engine is warm, the lights are green, and it's finally time to shift your Wednesday into overdrive. And now, here's your host, Diego the Podcaster.
On this episode of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday, our guests are a high-energy punk band with a sound that pays homage to the likes of the Misfits, Alkaline Trio, Ramones, Cancerslug, and Screeching Weasel. With over 30 years of writing, recording, and touring experience under their belts, they have established themselves as an absolute force to be reckoned with in the punk rock scene. They are proving that punk is alive, well, and louder than ever. All this plus more. Please welcome our good friends and first-time guests. They are Blanket of M. My friend, welcome to Bonus Overdrive Wednesday.
Hey man, what's up, Diego? Hey, I think you just covered it all in the intro, man. So I'm just gonna go ahead and step out, and you can just edit it, and we'll go from there. Nah, I'm just kidding, man.
Right, I'll just play this song and call it the fastest.
That's it,
episode
man. You know,
ever.
Everybody's attention span, it'll be with you on this episode.
Yeah, it'll be like, who was it? Was it Napalm Death or Cannibal Corpse that had the fastest video on MTV?
It seems like something Napalm would have done, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, we could have ended it with that and been right up there with Napalm. They'd have been calling me saying, "Hey, man, you ripped me off, bro." I say, "Hey, if it works, it works." No, but
Can't argue with success, my friend.
oh, not at all. And I mean, you guys, you've been doing this for a long time, and I know there's been some breaks in between, and then you start over again. But we're definitely going to cover that here in a few seconds.
Okay.
I can honestly say that in your partner of Texas, which is Tyler, Texas, correct?
Yes.
I was trying to say, well, I remember in the 90s, I know that Texas had a pretty booming heavy metal scene, even thrash or death metal every once in a while. You get these pockets of bands that come out.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I didn't see really much punk music coming out of the area. So I did the old internet thing. I got in there and tell me what's the most popular or common types of music from that area. Now, it's sped out two. One, I think it's a made up thing. I don't think it even exists. But from what I looked into in your area, it seems to be, well, of course, Texas country. I mean, that's very creative.
Yeah.
It's something called red dirt music. Is that even a classification? Is that a
Yeah.
thing?
There's this red dirt country. It's a genre that really, I don't understand what it is any different from Texas country. But yeah, there's a whole genre that falls, or a whole group of people that fall under this red dirt country umbrella. I think it just is a way to neatly package. People like things neatly packaged. So I guess if you could just put everything under an umbrella and call it red dirt country, then it's a little easier to put on a poster and promote or whatever. So yeah, red dirt country is a thing.
And well, that's fine. I mean, even kind of like in the metal scene, there's like 2,500 different classifications. You got power metal, you got thrash, you got speed metal, you got classic metal.
And it all
Yeah.
falls under
Yeah.
rock and roll too. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Everybody's like, punk rock's the same thing, man. You got pop punk, you got oi punk, you got street punk, you got whatever, and it's all falling under the punk rock umbrella, which falls under the bigger umbrella of rock and roll, you would think. So
Yeah, and not surprising enough for people like ourselves who've been into, I mean, I am into music and I love music. Punk goes back so many decades. But let me ask you this question. How does Blanket of M fit into the scene in your area? I would assume that you guys are definitely making an impact.
Well, the thing that we've tried to stay consistent with in our area is networking and running shows. Like we know that we can't do this forever. And so we know that we need to have some other people kind of coming up there and doing it with us. And the thing that we've tried to do here is to network and run shows and try to get people to come here. But then that becomes an issue because we run out of venues, and I don't want to bring someone all the way to our town that has to make a long trip with everything financially these days. I don't feel comfortable bringing people from far away with the possibility of them playing a show for the bartender, the sound guy, us, and a couple people. A lot of people we're used to that. We want to play music, and that's cool, and we do it all the time. We'll drive 8 hours and play for 4 people. We do it a lot. But as far as our area, that's the thing. I want to bring people here, and I want people to be excited about what's going on here. We just have to reach a different group of people that I'm at this point a couple decades older than they are. So I'm having trouble reaching some of the younger folks because nobody wants to go see their dad's band play. And I approach some of these younger people, and that's how they're looking at me. They're like, "What's this old guy want?" So we're trying to bring some of the younger folks in and get them to run with the ball, because again, I won't be able to do it forever. And I'm hoping that somebody else will grab the ball and run with it.
Well, yeah, I understand. We can't all do this forever. Just like me, I can't podcast forever. Eventually, we're all going to go to the other side, and somebody else will have to take over.
Hmm.
But it's been 30 years now. When did this? If we were to go back, just coming straight out of college and high school and move forward, how did
Well,
Blanket of M
man,
form?
okay, so Blanket of M didn't form until 2006. Initially, I got into the hardcore and punk rock scene here in Tyler in '94, about '94, yeah. And there was a guy named Darren Johnson who was single-handedly responsible for the stuff that went on here. He didn't get out of debt with his credit cards and everything until he was in his mid 40s, I think. And this was a guy who started running shows when he was a teenager, booking shows, booking venues, bringing in bands. So if it wasn't for Darren, um, none of that would have happened. He's one of the unsung heroes of this area, and I'll give him props until the end of time, because Darren was responsible for all of that. He had some great bands. He was in a band called 11th Hour. He was in a band called 1066. Great bands, hardcore bands, straight edge hardcore bands. And he brought in anybody from Earth Crisis to Alkaline Trio to Hatebreed to, I mean, you could just do Jimmy Eat World. You could do the list of bands that Darren booked as a teenager in VFWs and rec centers and Cedars of Lebanon. And yeah, so '94 was when I started going to the DIY punk rock shows around here, and it was all because of Darren. And there were some other people, don't get me wrong, that ran shows and did some things, but Darren really kicked it off and showed he kind of was the blueprint for the people that came right after him. Said, you can do this. Get a venue, set up a PA, book a band. You can do it. And some people did. But Darren, man, he really like dove in head first, and he was responsible for everything going down. And Blanket again didn't come till later. 2006 was when I started Blanket.
Or was that right up? Well, what were you involved with prior? Because you were a fan of the music,
Yeah,
and then I'm sure you eventually picked up an instrument, started singing. And how did you?
yeah, I wasn't
Yeah,
really a musician. I had gotten a guitar when I was 15, and I learned how to play an A and E chord, and I wrote a song, and that was it. I just realized like, hey, probably not going to be very good at this. And your attention span when you're 15, like you get distracted, you want to go do something else. So from some friends of mine, a guy named Luke and a guy named Walter, we started a band called the Distorted Piglets, just for the heck of it. Luke wanted to play guitar, Walter wanted to play drums, I was going to sing. And Luke went on to do some other things. He was no longer interested in the project. So it was Walter who suggested, hey, man, you just play guitar and sing, and we'll keep this band going. And Walter was instrumental in me learning how to actually play guitar in a band. He showed me how to play power chords, and then we were off and running. And not that, I was great at it, but I was willing to try it. And he just wanted to play drums. Walter's a tremendous drummer, but at the time, he was learning and he wanted to play drums. Tremendous drummer nowadays. Um, but yeah, did the Distorted Piglets, and then that led to other projects. Lacus and I were in a band in our teens called the Bulo Posse, and it was like a noise grind project, and had a lot of revolving members until we figured out that we were going to do it a little, more serious, as serious as that could be. And, so just playing in punk rock bands here and there, nothing that ever did any extensive touring. We did some recording with that band. I was in a band called the Worms. We did some recording. We actually did some touring, which was a big deal when you're 18 and 19 to go to New Mexico. And, we went to Tucson, and that's a big deal when you're 18, And when I was 18, things were a little bit more difficult. We were using dialers to make phone calls, and you were having to send letters, and just it was a little more difficult, but it was an adventure, and we were young enough to do it. You're young enough to mess up and not have to suffer too severe repercussions when you mess up when you're 18 or 19. Not that we couldn't get into real trouble, but I mean, we didn't have the responsibilities. We didn't have children, you didn't have mortgages, you didn't have health problems yet. You could go out and do things like that. So again, Darren is responsible for that. I went on my first tour because of Darren. He had the van, he had the wherewithal, he knew the people because the people had come play his shows. He was instrumental in all that. I'm going to put Darren over forever whenever people ask me about anything that I got going on with punk rock or the DIY scene.
And that's pretty awesome when you have a person or a group of people that help support each other. And it's not just about them; it's about the people they support and just helping them get the word out for the bands or these artists. I think I'm seeing that more and more now, but it's still kind of rare because everybody's in for themselves. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's nice to hear. Yeah,
it's a weird thing, man, because everyone's in competition, whether they want to admit it or not. Like, hey, man, I love your band. You guys are great. But I'm not going to, sidestep an opportunity for my band to give your band that opportunity. And nobody would. I went through that. I worked in the professional wrestling business for 25 years. It's the same thing, all the guys with wrestling schools would sell the kids a pipe dream. Like, I can get you in the WWE. And my question was always, well, if he could get you in the WWE, why didn't he get himself in the WWE? Because that's what I would have done. I'm just being honest with you, kid. I mean, I'll train you, but I'm not going to tell you that I can get you to the WWE because I would get myself there before I would get you there. So,
and it's the same. Music business and wrestling almost the same thing because it's still well, you're working hard to get your name out there. You're
yeah,
taking. You eventually got to get somebody's spot. You got to take somebody's spot.
that's the thing. The entertainment business is brutal, man. And all you can hope for is that you get in and you're able to make a name. And some of it, yes, obviously a lot of us would love to be financially successful with it, which doesn't happen a lot. But my thing was always in wrestling, if I could be one of those guys that made millions of dollars, I'd be more than happy to retire, get out of the way, and allow a young guy who has a family, a new wife and a young baby, the opportunity to make money when I've already made my money. What are you going to do with $25 million? You know what I mean? So that was always my idea. But of course, I never reached that upper echelon. So I don't know how I would have reacted if I would have got there or not,
I mean, I wouldn't shoo away an idea of $25 million. I mean, it might solve 25 million of my problems, but it could also bring 25
It
million
would
more
bring
problems.
25 million more. Yeah, that's the problem with that. I think that's the problem with those people. They make $50 million, but they spend 60 million.
Yep, and then they went up on Caleb Hammer's show, financial audit, and getting yelled at about, where are your finances again? But that's a whole different thing. Also out of Texas, so that's two great things coming out of Texas. The years come down the road, and then something happens with Blanket of M, where the band was a blip on the radar. People started paying attention to what you guys were doing. The word was getting out with an album called Feral Fever Dreams, and that put you guys on the map. Now, looking back at that record or that album, was that the moment when you guys thought to yourselves, we really nailed it on this one? This is our signature sound. How did that feel, first of all, getting that album so much attention?
Well, Locus joining with me to play was a big part of all of that, becoming to fruition, because he's an experienced player. he can play guitar, he can play bass, he writes songs, he's a great drummer. But him coming along and being such a rock and roll fan, he's a fan of melody, he understands backing vocals, he understands, a lot of things that go into having the experience that he has. Okay, so him joining really kind of bumped us up a notch. That's not a question. It bumped us up, and I didn't think that he would play with me because Locus has done a lot of stuff, man. International touring, people have put out his records. I didn't really think he would play with me, even though we're friends. There's a lot of friends in the music business, but that doesn't mean they're going to play on your record or whatever. And I asked him. I had an opportunity for a show, and I said, "Hey, I got an opportunity for a show, and I really like to play it, but I need a drummer." And a friend of mine named Brian had played with me before. He was willing to play bass, no problem. And Locke said, "Yeah, man, I'll give it a shot. Let's do it." And that was in November 21 when we played that show. And so we had started rehearsing in probably, September, October. And it went really well. And after that, the offers started coming in like, "Hey, you guys want to play more shows?" So we started doing that. And in the process, we were running through the old catalog just to have something to play. But then Locus, again, he writes songs. So he had some songs that he was, he'd been working on, and he started kind of bringing them out. And then I had some stuff, some newer things that I had been laying down. And once we locked into playing those songs live and we got everything nailed as far as the backing vocals, and we took those songs out for maybe a year, and then said, "Okay, let's record this because I think we may be onto something." And we recorded it, and Flotsam Records in Sycamore, Missouri was nice enough to put it out for us. And it just caught on, dude. Like over there in Missouri, those folks were really, really supportive of us. And even they put it in the local music store, and it was one of the top selling CDs. Again, this is not a sound scan thing. This is the guy walks in and they go, "Hey, we need more of those CDs." So he would bring them another stack and they would sell out. And yeah, man, people started really paying attention to it. And then it was getting reviewed in different zines that, to be honest with you, in the past had not necessarily been that courteous to us. And so it was getting reviewed, and people were, like, "Hey, I'm liking this. I'd like to hear more of this." So we're like, "Okay, man, maybe we're on to something."
And how long did that album come out?
How long ago did it come out? We put that out in when did that record come out? It came out December 23, I believe. December 23. So yeah, because like I said, we had fired up. We played that first show in November 21, so you're pretty much at the end of the year. And then we ran with those songs for about a year, man. When we got them written and got them arranged, and when we took them on the road, because we wanted to see, like, hey, if this is good, people will let us know. Because these people aren't necessarily our friends. They don't have a reason to pat us on the back and say, "Great job." They don't know us. We were traveling all over the place where that wasn't the thing, So we wanted to take them out on the road, see how people responded. And then, so yeah, it was, I wrote it down. It was December 23 when we released that record. So right at the end of the year, right at the end of 23. And yeah, so then, we just hit the road. We hit the ground running with it. And we're getting, everywhere we went, we were getting, great response. Now, again, it's not earth shattering. We're not doing these numbers that would make a some executive quake in his boots or whatever. None of that. But for us, it was awesome. If you press 100 records, dude, and you sell them, that's like, to us, that's an accomplishment, man, because you can't force people to buy that. They're going to have to like actually reach in their pocket and pull out, some money, or do the little scan. They're going to have to physically go, "Yeah, dude, hell yeah, I'll spend my hard-earned money on this." So that was cool. I mean, again, we're not moving anything that's going to put us diamond or platinum or something, but for us, if you don't have a stack of records in your closet that sits there for 10 years, then that's success,
Yeah, and now with everything's download or streaming or listening to on the different type of websites, it's
Yeah.
a good thing though, because now physical media seems to be making a small comeback. Now, I didn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick because I still kept all my physical media. If you see in the back, and this is just one a little bit of 6 or 7 cases I still haven't taken out because I can't fit them in the studio.
Yeah. I mean,
Now,
behind me, dude, you can see, like, I got shelves there. I got a big shelf on my wall that Locus built me because he got tired of coming in and seeing CDs piled up everywhere. I love physical media, man. You know, like I'm still rocking the records. Pine Hill Haints, really good band out of Alabama. I'm rocking the records. I got the cassette tapes, brother. I got the Discount Vodka cassette tape from our homies up in Colorado. Man, I love it. I love to be able to hold the physical product. And if they ever shut the satellites down, I'm still going to be able to listen to my jams.
yeah. And once Skynet hits and shuts down, we're in trouble. Now, if you can see behind me here, I still got my tape player here.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, I'm not playing
I
around.
got a little tape player over here, man. I love it. I love cassettes.
Me too. And only things I didn't. I do have some vinyl too on the walls and that. And if I move the camera, it'll fall and I'll wreck the whole show. So I'll show you offline with the physical media now coming into play. We're also selling merchandise, T-shirts. We're selling stickers. We're selling a lot of things, which is great because it almost feels like we're going back 20 years when things were right. And actual musicians were getting the credit they deserve. They were getting paid. And some were doing better than others, but things were right fine. Fast forward till now, because the reason I mentioned the album because it was a full length album, but now you and our good friends from Dead Don't Die, there's a split record that you guys put out, correct?
Oh yeah, man. Come on now. Don't pretend that you don't know, man. This is big news. This was hot on the presses, brother. This is hot off the presses right here, man. You are a man about town. You know what's going down in the world. Don't try to play it off.
Well, I'm just, I'm trying to set it up for you, man, so you can go ahead and we're going to talk about Mayhem and Madness. There's a tour coming up. Yeah, let's do that. And before we get into it, I'm going to go ahead and play the promo from it. I played it last time. And for those that missed the last episode, first of all, shame on you, but this is your chance to make good on it.
Yeah, both of those people that missed the last broadcast, both of those people, they need to be brought up to speed.
Yeah, I'm going to call them. I know them personally. But let's go ahead with it, and we'll be right back.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Amateur, I got this new mic. I keep muting myself and I keep forgetting to turn it on when I talk, but I was saying that's the most punk rock thing you'll see this year. And well, let me get your background on this. How did this tour form? How did Blanket of M and Dead Don't Die? Now it's kind of like a tag team. We're gonna go out there on the road and you're gonna be doing your thing. So how did this come together?
Well, initially I'd started talking to Rejected Youth Records, and it helped because a friend of ours named Bob LeVay has HFY Records out of Arkansas, and he had put out one of our releases. Well, he put out two of our releases actually. Bob's the man, so put out two of our releases, and they have a relationship, so they know of each other, and they like each other's bands, and they check out each other's releases. So that helped. And I reached out to Rejected Youth and I said, hey man, we would really like to work with you guys if you would be interested. And they're like, oh yeah. So I said, well, we want to come up that way and tour, and we would be willing to, if you're willing to put something out, we will go out on the road and promote it. We won't just tell people we have a record and expect, a miracle. And they said, yeah, let's do it. And so they suggested that we do the split because, again, we're going into areas where we don't have a strong presence. So we're going into an area where, some local presence will help. And, so they suggested it. We didn't know the guys beforehand. We've hit it off. They're tremendous people, and we're stoked about getting to actually meet them in person and see them play. We're going to see them play 4 nights in a row. So we're pretty stoked about that. But it all just kind of came together. And again, it's like just people working with each other, like-minded people who want to help and, who are passionate about what they're doing. It's not, we're all in it to make this big clip, that's not it. It's the passion of like, hey, we'll put out your record, you'll promote it, our friends will hear it, it'll be awesome. And that was their attitude. They were great from the jump. And so that was how it came together. And they helped us book 4 of the shows, which was great because booking is a nightmare. You'll contact 200 people, man. You might hear back from 20 of them, and 4 of them might help you if you're lucky, And so they helped out big time with that. They got 4 of the shows booked. I think we're doing 11 shows in 10 days. And and a lot of bands are like, 11 shows, man, we do 30. Well, that's great. But I have a full-time life at home. I have a full-time 8-year-old son. I have a full-time significant other. I have a full-time job. I have things that I have to do. I would love to just hit the bricks and stay out on the road all year. And I would be more than happy to starve to death by myself. But I can't expect my son, to go, hey, man, daddy's out on the road playing rock and roll. I haven't eaten. We don't have any electricity. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's awesome to be able to do. Dude, it's awesome to be able to go out on the road for a day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever. You should be thankful that you're able to just go out, I don't care if it's 6 blocks down the road or, 600 miles from your house. You should be stoked that you're able to go do it. And we are. Dude, the way we do it, it works for us. We generally wind up not being in the red. And if we are, it's not so far in the red that we have to set up a GoFundMe when we come home. Nothing against that. But we've never found ourselves in that position where things have went so horribly wrong. We need GoFundMes, like so we're fortunate when it comes to that. But we also use our vacation time at work. It's not like I'm just, I'm just going to take off for 2 weeks, take it easy. I have to work that out in advance with my job. I have to burn up my vacation days. I drive for a living. That's my job. And when I'm off work, I'm driving to a show. When I'm on vacation, I'm driving a van down the interstate, right? So I never get out of the car. If I could get back my window time, I would be 8 years old or something from all the time that I've spent driving down if I could get back all that windshield time, at one time I'd be 8 years old or something. But yeah, that's how it all came together. Rejected Youth. And yeah, dude, we're stoked, man. We're getting to hit some town, some states we've never been to, and some places we've never played. So yeah, we're pretty stoked.
In a sense, it kind of reminds me going back to wrestling, especially indie wrestling, where, I mean, God bless some of the guys that go out there full time, have a support system. But
Yeah.
most of them, they have a job, full-time jobs, 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs just to get the money to go out and travel, and get paid pretty poorly because indie wrestling, it's not the best thing.
It's awful.
It is. Let me ask you this. I'm sorry, I'm stepping all over. That's on me.
No, man. The man, dude, this is your show. I should just step back and keep my mouth shut until the man asks me a question.
No, man, I'm killing the heat. I'm killing the heat here.
Yeah,
No,
right.
Are there, like, I'm talking about indie wrestling and music? During the times where you guys played in the past, different kind of clubs or venues, are there similarities with the hot dog and a handshake?
Okay. I was lucky enough to wrestle for about a decade as my job. Okay, then my first son was born. And when that happened, he's 20 years old now. When that happened, I had to get a real job. Okay, I still wrestled, but here's the problem. My tag team partner is now in the FBI. At the time, he was getting a criminal justice degree. And we were out on the road, and a promoter would promise us something. Oh, we'll give you $200. And we would get there, and then they would start backpedaling and try to rip us off. And so it got to a point where we were already looking for something to steal. And we're not thieves. But when you drive all the way to Kansas City for $200 and the guy hands you 80, we had to figure out a way to make up the difference. So we got to a point where we were just like, this is not cool because we're not criminals. He absolutely could not get in trouble. I didn't want to get in trouble. But you would find us, we were like looking for something to steal already, man. That's how it's just not it wasn't good. Now, wrestling may have changed and gotten better. I have no idea. When we were running up and down the roads, I broke in 1998. I ran hard until about 2009. Okay. My son was born in 2005. I got a real job, but I still made my towns, man. I was still out hustling. But it got to a point where you didn't want to risk your life and limb anymore for a promoter that was just treating you like just because you are expendable, you're disposable. Steve Austin was one of the biggest names of all time, but wrestling didn't end when he got injured. Shawn Michaels was on the shelf. Wrestling didn't end. It doesn't. It keeps on going. So if the world didn't stop, if rock and roll didn't stop when Freddie Mercury passed away, dude, the world's just going to keep going and you're not, So yes, very much similar. The good part about it is in wrestling, you really had to put a lot of trust in your opponent, and you had to at least have a rapport because you were trusting each other to protect each other's body. In rock and roll, that rapport is not necessarily a necessity, especially when you deal with a lot of guys who are delusional, that have this weird attitude. And again, I'm older, so I probably went through that maybe when I was younger, but now I get it. Like, it's all whatever. Dude, you're at the same show I am. There's 6 people out there. I don't know what you're flexing, but that's cool. So in rock and roll, you can kind of not play along. Like, if people treat you like crap, like wrestling, there was a lot of hierarchy crap. You'd have to bow down to, like, oh, you can't say that because you're going to make the veteran mad and he might beat you up. And back then they might. You don't want to make Black Bart mad. He might have slapped you across the face. Legit. Things have changed for the better in wrestling, I think, because of that. And rock and roll, same thing, man. Any kind of entertainment business that you're in where you're the product, you're gonna like take an L every now and then. I mean, it's just the way it is. Unless you become so big that you can't take an L. And that happens to some rare people like The Rock and Taylor Swift and, Post Malone. There's those people that can't take the L. The rest of us, that trickles down, So where Taylor can't take the L, the opening band's going to take the L. And then the guy driving the bus is going to take the L. And the dude loading the equipment is going to take the L. So same with wrestling, Ric Flair wasn't going to take the L. The referee might, the ring crew guy might, it all trickles down. But a lot of similarities in any kind of entertainment business, and especially when you're the product, somebody's always looking to take advantage of you. It's all return on investment, Diego. If I can invest $900 into you and make $3,000, I'm going to do it. But I'm going to cut every corner I can to make sure you don't get anything more than that $900 or whatever, right? I'm not gonna cut you in on the extra $3,000 that I made. Why would I do that? Doesn't make me a very good businessman.
And it's funny because I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I got some stories for you after this show, especially wrestling.
Okay, this could be a 30-parter, brother.
Or it can be. No, I mean, let's book it, man. Let's book it the rest of the year. But now that actually something very wrestling related, because kind of like when you're on the road, right? A lot of things happen in wrestling. A lot of great stories, whether it's during the drive, if it's in the locker room, it's meeting the fans, and we can't even use this terminology anymore. With the rats that are out there, a lot of crazy things can happen.
Yeah, that's a thing.
In the music scene, yeah. And so when I'm asking, what is the most punk rock thing you've seen, whether at a venue, on the road, or while you're playing on stage? What's the craziest thing you've seen out there?
It's kind of weird because I don't know if sometimes we play to an older crowd, and I think a lot of us are starting to realize our limitations. So some of the absolute nutbag crazy stuff that used to go down, I don't see that much. But it's like I'll go see the Murder Junkies play, who I'm friends with. And everybody's got their opinion of G.G. Allen and the murder, whatever. I don't care. I'm legit friends with the dudes. Okay. I'll go hang out with them. And you see crazy stuff at their shows, which is weird because their audience tends to be older. But you'll still have some nitwit trying to fight Paul, the singer, or trying to like grope Dino because he's naked, or just weird. So I've seen more things like that. I've seen more violence and weird stuff at stuff I'm not involved in, luckily. At our shows, we've had some, the most we've gotten maybe is some like heckler crap, and I'm old school pro wrestling. So if you heckle me, I'm just going to cut a heel promo on you and bury you and then go right back to what we were doing. You're not going to get me off stage. You're not going to, and a lot of times that will fuel my performance. But I've seen, fights and weird things like that, but it hasn't been at our shows, man. And even at the punk rock show, like the super punk rock dives, and I think a lot of people are, and I don't, violence is stupid anyway. Don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating that. That's dumb. And that's like low hanging fruit. Like, oh, I can't discuss it. Well, let me punch you in the face. Whatever. I think there's a lot of people nowadays that don't understand the level of violence that used to exist at shows. Like in the 90s, man, we used to have to run from skinheads, legit bonehead jerks. And they were never my size, dude. I was 5'6" and 120 pounds. They were always these big, jacked up, 260-pound, 5'10" dudes. And it would be 12 of them. And it'd be these little scrawny punk rock, us, having to run from these dudes. They'd be like, well, I'll smash a Nazi. Dude, when there's 12 of them and there's 4 of us and we all weigh a collective 400 pounds between the 4 of us, no, you wouldn't smash them. You would take off running. And I think that's one of the big differences is there's a lot of talk, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'd do this if I saw that. No, you wouldn't. Odds are, no, you wouldn't. Because I've seen some stuff happen and I've seen people do nothing. Like all the smash on site guys that like to talk that terminology. Oh, SOS, it's SOS. I'm like, first of all, you never been to the pen or anything. Like, I don't know who you run with. Like that SOS crap. Like, dude, give me a break because I've seen you in action and there is no action. So I think a lot of guys nowadays aren't to get into the mix, which is cool because I go to shows to play music. I like to exchange energy between us and the audience. And I love getting that energy back. I don't want to fight you. And if I wanted to fight you, why in the heck would I go to a punk rock show where we're all supposed to be on the same page and fight? If I was a real tough guy, I would roll into the middle of a bonehead meeting and start a fight. I'd go to a Klan rally and start a fight. Or I would go somewhere where that would matter. Like I'm going to go punch a fellow punk rocker in the eye. For what? You know what I mean? We're all supposed to be here. We're all supposed to be in the same little marginalized group of people, that these outcasts, we're all coming together. You're going to fight each other? That's why I kind of, when I was younger, I kind of gave up on the punk rock dream of us changing everything because people were fighting each other. I'm like, if we can't all stand here in this armory with our patches and our purple mohawks and our whatever and not fight each other, what makes you think we're going to go out here and, change anything? And that was one of the, like, just, I don't know if it's getting older or just the harsh reality of the whole thing. Luckily for us, our stuff has been pretty tame, dude. None of us we don't drink. We're pretty lame. Well, Robert drinks, but he doesn't get belligerent. Robert's the calmest guy in the band. Locus and I do nothing. We don't drink. We don't do drugs. We do nothing. So we're these 2 old dudes that are just kind of trying to stay out of the way. We do our thing. We're more than happy to talk to you. We're super stoked that you came to the show. We appreciate it. We're not those guys that are gonna, be out there flexing and trying to get in the mix with somebody. And dude, I'm old. Fighting, it takes a lot of energy. I don't know when the last time you got in a fight, Diego, but I remember the last time I got into a real altercation. It took a lot of energy. And yeah, so that's not high on my list of things to do, man.
I'm
Maybe
gonna
I'm a
say
chump. Maybe I'm a chump. Maybe I'm just a chump and a punk, and maybe I don't have any fight left in me. I don't know.
no. The last legit for me, I think it was in Jersey, and it might have been, oh my god, 2003 or four. I mean, that's
Yeah, and I believe seeing something in Jersey, in Philly, and even Cincinnati, and some of these places. Like I've seen some like crazy stuff in Louisville, Kentucky. You pick these weird places, and but you hear about somebody getting in the mix in Philly with somebody. You're like, well, of course they did. You walked more than 5 feet from your house or whatever. So yeah, but
no. I mean,
nothing against
for
Philly. I love Philly. We used to wrestle there. I love Philly.
no. I mean, now it takes a lot for me. I mean, back in the day, I swing at the fence and somebody cut in line
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
I would
I
start
was
something, but
yeah.
I'm not gonna
I
get my
mean,
ass kicked for large fries anymore. Just go ahead and get in
yeah,
line. I don't
dude.
care.
I had little man syndrome. I was like, oh yeah, you want some of this, and like you probably most of those people could have killed me. Luckily, it didn't come to that a lot of times because that most of those people would have whooped me and just went on about their day. But yeah, I got all that out of my system. I'm not. I got things. I got more important things to worry about than getting CTE because some dude knocked me out of the show. I'd rather come home and have my faculties and be able to hang out with my son and remember my lyrics. And I don't have time for any of that stuff.
You and I both, brother. And now comes my favorite part of the show, where I can actually share not only the story of Blanket of M, but we're going to talk about one of the songs we're going to play here, "The Dead Part of the House." And when I put the needle on the record, when you first sent me that song, it's nonstop. It's high energy. It's a pretty badass song. If you don't mind, can you give us a little bit of insight on what that song means to Blanket of M?
Yeah, man. There's a. You're familiar with the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
There was a show called One Step Beyond, and it was kind of like Twilight Zone. They played. Just. I came up on a box set of it somewhere, thrift store or something. I don't know. I grabbed it because I'm interested in that kind of stuff, old horror and sci-fi and all that. So I grabbed it, and there was an episode called "Dead Part of the House," and I watched the episode, and it was a really good. And I just started taking notes while I was watching the episode, and I'd already kind of been kicking around the music of the song, but I didn't really have an idea of what I was going to do with the music. And once in my notes from the episode, I said, "Hey, wait a minute, I may be onto something here." And yeah, man, the music fit perfectly, and it just kind of the whole arrangement fell together. And yeah, it just watched that episode, took notes, and then I already had some music cooking. And yeah, and then I put my kind of my homage to Billy Idol for the solo section. That's kind of my homage to Billy Idol. But some people said it reminded them of the Munsters theme, which is cool because it fits with what was going on in the song, kind of the genre. But yeah, so it just kind of came together, man. A lot of my songs, if they come together quick, they're usually my favorite, and I usually feel that there are better songs. The ones that I work on over and over again, and it starts to grate on me, and I don't know if it's worth it sometimes, and I kind of turn on the song. But that one came together really quick, so that's one of my favorite songs in our set. We actually started playing it live, and it's not out yet, so you're one of the only people that has a copy of it.
Oh, that's amazing. And you talked about Billy Idol. I was just listening to him and Steve Stevens on a podcast, Billy Corgan's podcast, which is tremendous. I recommend it for anybody. He's not
Yeah,
paying me to say anything, but I really like that he interviews the people and bands that I used to listen to when I was younger as well. And now for the most important question of all, and I don't want to put you on the spot, man. For everyone listening who wants to grab a copy of Mayhem and Madness, buy some merch, and when you're going to roll into their town, where's the best place for them to follow you? Where can they find out?
if you just go to blanketofm.com, you'll be able to find everything Blanket of M related, man. You'll be able to find our socials. You'll be able to find streaming, which I'm not a big fan of, but you'll be able to find that. Bandcamp, which I prefer you go to. Of course, you can get the music from there, or you could just straight up contact us, and we will be able to, we'll be able to take care of you. We take this very seriously, as you can tell. We are astute businessmen. And no, if you want to get in touch with us, blanketofm.com is the best way, and you'll be able to find out anything you need to know about us, and you can contact us, and we'll go from there.
And now this is Blanket of M with the dead part of the house on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday right now. Joey, thank you for being on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday.
Diego, you're the man. Thank you.
All content on this broadcast is a property of Diego the Podcaster and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, Diego the Podcaster, or Bonus Overdrive Wednesday. The information shared on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.